Thanks. So you all know who I am, and I'm not going to waste my precious 7 minutes talking about anything more about the centre. So basically, we are slip down and just say we're funded to provide legal advice and to provide responses on law reform and policy submissions. We think that an Act of Parliament is only necessary when things are going pear-shaped. Practitioners who do the job well to an appropriate standard don't need the discipline of an Act of Parliament. So it always has to be remembered that this is really primarily about not doing the right thing as opposed to doing, but also providing a framework where you can remove the liberty and go against the bodily integrity of someone. So it is really important to remember that when you're talking about Acts of Parliament. The Stokes report did identify a fragmented standard of care within the system, and we don't think that the Green Bill has the potential to significantly remedy that fundamental flaw that Stokes found in his report. And what we've done is, Stokes did say, he identified a fragmented variable standard of care, that there was no robust uniform clinical accountability, there's a lack of standardisation of policies and management, there's absence of a single point of authority, information management and delivery needed improvement, carer involvement needed improvement, and there was lack of inpatient-outpatient linking. And they were just some of the things I picked out that I think are critically important and which the bill could have something to say about. Now, we've done 2 tables, try not to be lawyerly, to try and do a visual representation of what we think the fundamental flaws are with how we make people involuntary. So the first table I'm going to show you is how a decision is made to make a person an involuntary patient. And the second table is the hindrances to the oversight of appropriate standards delivered by the service, and in particular by the treating psychiatrist. So in phase 1, you've basically got a person sitting in the middle. I'm not allowed to go there because there's a cord. There's a person sitting in the middle, and outside that is they can be hospitalised or treated without their consent. The treating psychiatrist decides. That's it. It's just a no, and then the person can't consent or is unreasonably refused, but the treating psychiatrist decides that. An involuntary patient capable of giving informed consent to some treatments. Well, how is that consistent with they've been made involuntary because they couldn't consent to treatment? So there's an inherent inconsistency in those 2 powers. And it just goes round and round. There's an inherent conflict in a psychiatrist deciding someone needs treatment for something and that person refusing it, and that psychiatrist being able to say, well, that's unreasonable. There's an inherent conflict in that position that's very difficult to resolve. I just wanted to point that out. So say that the psychiatrist has made the person an involuntary patient. So we've got a bill that sits the patient and the treating psychiatrist in basically a closed circle with an incredible power imbalance. And all of the oversight things that are set up in the bill can be controlled or rebutted by the treating psychiatrist. So there isn't really anything that stops this incredible power imbalance in the current Act. And I also think it's really important we're measuring against the Act, not against the last bill. The last bill was a wonderful opportunity that the Commission and the Minister provided for us all to have a say about what we wanted in the context of a draft. What we have to remember is we're looking at the 2000 bill against what the actual Act does now. So the bill has a provision for receiving complaints, for example, and I'm not going to get my 7 minutes, so I'll just give you an example. So it goes to NADASCO, but they've only got the power of conciliation, and they don't have the power to look at the psychiatrist because they have to refer it to APRA. So second opinions, well, if there's a right to a further opinion, but what do you have to do with it? There's no requirement to do something with it or act on it or report on it or say to someone, well, the treating psychiatrist, yes, I've read the second opinion, I don't agree, I do agree. Well, what? So I'm happy to provide this or talk longer to anyone that would like to hear about it or go back to it in a minute. What do we like? Well, you'd asked me to do something, 3 things, not possible. But what I would like to didn't put here, that I do like, is that the bill has maintained the behavioural definition of mental illness. What that means is a person has to be exhibiting certain behaviours in a certain way to have mental illness for the purpose of the Act. That's critically important. As Tony just pointed out, we don't want the DMV, if it's a diagnosis in the DMV, you've got schizophrenia, therefore you can be an involuntary patient. That's bad. You might have that, but we shouldn't be using a diagnosis which is quite subjective in some circumstances. We should be using the behaviour, and and I should have put that in my likes because it is a critically important thing that we've kept. We like the addition of a charter and the improved acknowledgement of the role of family and friends, the notification of rights, notification to families, introduction to the nominated person concept, and moving a chief psychiatrist into the Mental Health Commission. But they don't go far enough, and they're able to be avoided by the treating psychiatrist in just about every circumstance without a right of appeal or a right to say. The dislikes, am I up to 5 minutes? Okay, so I got to page 1, and then I thought I'll have to do 3, so I quickly made 3 red ones. But basically, there is no mandated system of clear, transparent and enforceable standards of clinical treatment and care. There's a broadening of the involuntary detention criteria, not a narrowing. And there's no right to legal representation for children in the bill, and the right to legal representation of an adult can be overturned by a tribunal member. So the right to legal representation has been modified adversely by the bill. And then just to tell you, we're doing a briefing session at 2 o'clock on the 12th of February for anyone that wants a real run through of what I like and what I don't like and what our submissions will be. And just ring us up and let us know. It will be at our centre, unless there's more than 20 people, in which case ARAFMI have kindly offered to give a room.
Okay, so that's a taster. Sandy's given us a taster of what happens at the... Thank you, Sandy.
That's my pleasure.